Alright, hello everybody. We're talking about the wrist and forend junction on the old Enfield rifle. This applies to every Lee Enfield rifle with a two-piece stock from 1895 all the way to 1988. I believe we have number 1 Mark III's right through to then. And anything with a two-piece stock. Now the reason this particular thing is important is because your recoil is acting along the rifle this way and the wrist angle is like this. At the moment of firing, there is a moment where everything recoils and flinches like this, and that pinching action sends strange shockwaves down the barrel, it moves the wood around, it affects the accuracy. So the point of what we're looking at in the next couple of videos is to minimize that action. Now, Enfield had all this in mind, and the forend was designed to be a tight fit along the wrist face here. So here's what you're going to do. You have your rifle completely assembled, exactly as you would for shooting, nothing special. Get yourself a feeler gauge, get some of your fine gauges, and go along the wrist, the interface, and find the places where you can get a feeler gauge into the gap, and measure the gap between the forend and the wrist face. On this one, I can get a tooth-hair gap from top to bottom. That's not a good thing. So flip your rifle over, do the same thing on the other side. Use your different field gauge to figure out what that gap is. You're after two important pieces of information. You want to know how big that gap is, and you want to know if it's exactly the same on each side. The first and most important thing is if this gap is different on each side. So let's say, for instance, you have a wider gap here on the right hand side, somewhere all the way along down here. Let's say that's 0.010 of an inch, on the other side is 0.005. At the moment of firing, the rifle will lean towards the bigger gap and throw the shots to the side of the rifle. Clear? Same, if the gap is on the other side, it will throw the shots to the left hand side. Now the Enfield rifle can tolerate a bit of a gap through here for a soldier's use, but not for a target shooting, not for real accuracy. So we need two things in here. We need a zero gap, and it must be absolutely even from side to side. Now it's really common on Enfields to discover that there is just contact in this upper portion here, close to the trigger guard, in the top ½ an inch. That's not sufficient. You need minimum 80% coverage of firm contact along that face. You should be able to not get a feeler gauge into this join anywhere from about here to the trigger guard on both sides. Now, if you have an uneven gap there, then you're more or less obliged to remove the forend and build this up with epoxy. Now once the epoxy is set hard, then you slowly sand it back and fit the forend, sand some more, fit the forend, fit it 30 or 40 times maybe, until that is a firm fit to get these two together. Now if you have an even gap, your choices are much simpler. So, and on this rifle, here's what we have. This is a number 4, and we have a dead set even gap in here. Get yourself a piece of A4 paper, which is typically 0.004 of an inch thick. Cut yourself a square like this. As you assemble the rifle for going shooting, put the square in there between the face and squeeze it all together like that. Now this is still a little loose. I reckon it could go 2 or even maybe 3, or a thicker piece of cardboard would do it. You want stiff, uncompressible cardboard, like from a cereal box. What you're aiming for is for this assembly to require a hard squeeze from your hand to get the forend onto the rifle. Target shooters used to make it very hard to get it on. They want that tight. Now once your rifle's assembled, get yourself a razor blade, a pair of scissors, and carefully just trim off this excess paper, and just leave the paper in there while you're shooting. It will do no harm whatsoever, and it's a quick and simple way of making that joint tight. So there you go. That's an important part of Enfield accuracy. Every target rifle has a very tight wrist joint, and it will only stand you in good stead to have your rifle set up that way. That's it. Thank you. Next video.